Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see all of you here. We want to thank those who've taken time out of their busy schedule to join us today. We appreciate our media partners who are here with us as well for this very important announcement. It's no secret to anybody here how much Utah loves the Olympics and how excited we are for 2034, how incredibly important the games coming back to Utah, welcoming the world to the state of Utah, again, will be in 2034 for our economy, for all of us. Utah is leading the way, and this world needs more Utah. We are very excited today to spend time talking more about the formation of the 2034 Organizing Committee in partnership with the USOPC. It is my pleasure to officially name Fraser Bullock as President and Executive Chair of the Organizing Committee. Let me just say, I'm so grateful for Fraser's leadership going back a couple decades now as he helped to navigate waters for the 2002 Olympics. You all know his resume, but I would just add that his role is not just important to Utah, not just important to the U.S. Games, but his role has been important to the international games. So many countries have relied on Fraser for their bids and helping them to pull off their Olympics. We're just so lucky to have him here and his expertise, as we've seen as we got the bid in the first place. I'm also pleased to name Steve Starks as vice chair. Steve has been appointed to the bid committee board by me. He was my personal representative on that board. Again, his work with sport here in Utah, with the Miller Group, is just invaluable, and we're so lucky to have him. I'm grateful for his wisdom and advice as we've been pulling this all together, and he'll be incredible in that role as vice chair. I also want to acknowledge, although she's missing today, she is on a much-deserved family vacation, and we're missing her. But I want to acknowledge Catherine Rainey Norman, you know her as Kat, for her work as board chair in securing the 2034 bid, and she will now head the incredibly important Athletes Commission. We look forward to having her in that role, and she will be a part of this executive team as we move forward in everything that we do. Now, again, we've talked a lot about the legacy of the games from 2002 until today, and that legacy is going to live on as Utahns come together to celebrate the 2034 Olympics. I have to get used to saying we have 9 years instead of 10 years. We've been saying 10 years for a long time now. It is 9 years, and that clock keeps ticking. There's a lot for us to do, and we have the right team in place to get it all done. I'm so grateful for everybody that is up here, the mayor, the president and the speaker. Thank you for your leadership. I want to thank Sarah and her team. We love them and everything that they've done to help, and the partnership that we have with USOPC. You're going to hear more about my dear friend and a great leader in Utah, Brad Wilson, in just a moment. But it is now my pleasure to welcome to the stand Fraser Bullock.
Don't we have the best governor in Utah? So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the movement. And I'd like to recognize our other great political leaders that have been with us this entire journey. Mayor Mendenhall, I don't know how many calls we've done and Zooms and everything else, but she helped us as we're putting together the formation of this organizing committee. She's been an invaluable aid to me, an advisor to me as we've worked through this and talked about it, all the aspects. Then we have President Adams, a close friend and just wise, and was with us in Paris, as obviously all four were, including Speaker Schultz. And their leadership and support every step of the way has been essential, because the thing that gets a bid won is support from the community, from the political leaders, and that we had that unity going into Paris to be able to get that award. So I'm so grateful to them. I'm also grateful to our super partner, Sarah Hirschland, who is the CEO of the USOPC. She has been a close advisor to me, and as I said before, whenever Sarah talks, I listen carefully. And then I go back and make sure I've got it right. But we have a true partnership with the USOPC, and we just love it. And we actually signed the last agreement that needs to be done to officially kick off the organizing committee. We were formed as of about 9:30 this morning when we signed that agreement. So we are an official organizing committee approved by the IOC for the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games. The IOC has been here for a couple of days working with us. They've been a great partner, guiding us every step of the way. And that is another partner that's so important to us, and they're helping us as we go forward. So as we now form the organizing committee, I do want to recognize the role of Kat. She has been so great to partner with, and as the governor said, she's played a critical role and will continue. There are several things that she's going to be doing, and those will be continually revealed, but beginning with the Athletes Commission, which is so important. And I see Bill Schopenhauer back there. Our athletes are critical, and they are the heart of the games. And Kat represents that voice going forward. So we have formed a board, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But you'll notice that in my title, Executive Chair and President, not CEO, I'm pleased, very pleased to announce that Brad Wilson will be our CEO. He's obviously well known to everyone, beloved in this state, has incredible skill sets. We've already been working together for, I think, 3 or 4 months behind the scenes. And it's just a dream to work with him and with Steve Starks. The three of us get together, collaborate, and so we're very fortunate to have him. And I will note that he will be a volunteer. Once again, we have people who are willing to give to this great purpose and the opportunities we have going forward. So I look forward to working with Brad. And you'll notice it's a little unusual for me to be president and executive chair and CEO. We divide up responsibilities. I focus on the international arena, strategy, policy, and then we're fortunate to have Brad do the day-to-day operations, all the stuff that needs to get done to make a game successful. So I'm grateful to have him. And I'm also grateful we have a board of 25, and those board members who are here today, would you please stand up? So, yes. So stay standing. We have Spencer Eccles. We couldn't have a games without an Eccles at the heart of it, right? We know that. We have Mindy Benson, who is president of SUU and represents the rural part of Utah. So we want to make sure all of Utah feels involved. We have Abby Osborne, who's brilliant, capable, and well-connected, and tries to keep these people in line over here, and is sometimes successful at it. So, and then we have Steve Price, and I see John here behind him, who was a great member of our board back in 2002, and John's joining us. Crystal Bagalette, brilliant businesswoman, Maverick, and we see Maverick all over one of our great venues. And then we're delighted to have Jack Hollis here with us, who flew up here. Jack, if I'm not mistaken, you were just COO of Toyota North America, and just stepped down from that role so he could help us. So here we go. So we have 25 people. We have people like Ryan Smith and others who couldn't be here today, and we're just grateful for their willingness to serve. I will note one athlete that's kind of interesting, Sarah Hughes. If you remember her from 2002, gold medalist in figure skating. So we're grateful for all of them being willing to serve. And this is, as we look at the games, we keep coming back to what is the good in the world that we can do utilizing this platform for our neighbor, for our community, for our state, for our country, and for the world. And at the heart of it are our great athletes, and we're so grateful to them. So with that, thank you once again for being part of this movement and all that you do to support us. And I'll say one last shout out. We have many of our donors here and several people who are with us in Paris. Without you, we can't go forward. So we're grateful, very grateful to all of you. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brad.
Well, what a great day for Utah. Thank you all for being here. And I just want to echo Fraser's comments about the amazing leadership that we have in this state and my friends and former Foxhole buddies that are doing the good work up here. Thank you. And Sarah, thank you for being here as well. I vividly remember the evening of February 8th of 2002. I was lucky enough to be seated at the north end of Rice Eccles Stadium during the opening ceremonies. And I'm actually getting emotional thinking about this, but we've been through some really tough times as a country and as a world, actually. And right at the beginning of those opening ceremonies, the world was watching Utah. And right at the beginning of those opening ceremonies, the World Trade Center flag comes marching in to Rice Eccles Stadium with Derek Parra and other athletes. And you could hear a pin drop in that stadium. The only thing that you could hear actually were the helicopters overhead protecting the venue, protecting the athletes and the spectators there. And that event set off an amazing Olympics in 2002 that many of us were lucky enough to participate in. And I was really fortunate to take some time off work and go to all kinds of events. At the time, my daughter, who's here actually, was just a little baby. And what I am so excited about is for the next generation of my kids and maybe even grandkids by then, hint, hint, will be able to attend the Winter Olympics that Utah will be hosting here in the United States of America for the world. And we've got a really high bar to get over, to even meet the amazing games of 2002. But I assure you that we will do that. And Utah is a very special place because we have very special people here. And I'm honored for the opportunity to help lead this effort with an amazing team of people. And so, I could go on, but I'll just say this, that we are fortunate in this state to be at the epicenter of winter sport. And our stature in the world around winter sport has grown significantly in the last 20 years. And it's our commitment that it's going to continue to grow because there is nothing like sports. And in particular, there's nothing like the Olympics that brings this world together. And don't we need that more than ever? And it's our commitment to make sure that we do you all very, very proud. And along that path and along that journey, I'm really excited to work with Steve Starks, who's the other vice chair of the board, whose wisdom is going to help guide us. And Steve, we'll turn some time over to you.
Thank you. I'm also honored to be here and humbled by the people in this room. This is all a team sport, and it's fitting that we think of it in those terms when we think about Utah because we do that really well. It's a team sport in terms of who you've heard from today and who you will hear from. It's a team sport with the people in this room, and it will be a team sport for the 3.5 million Utahns today and growing that will be touched by the Olympics. I think it's also important to remember that this isn't just Utah's games. I've talked to people across the country, and in one of those interactions, I was struck by somebody from California who said, "We got the games." And it was a reminder to me that we have the games, meaning America has the games. And we have a chance to welcome the world back to our state and also to feature what is great about America and to welcome the world here, which we're all honored and excited about. Utah is fortunate to have incredible tailwinds. We have momentum, we're on a great trajectory, and the Olympics can be a catalyst to continue to grow and to continue to do things that will benefit the citizens here and again showcase us to the world. And so I'm excited to get after this. I do want to acknowledge a couple people here because we stand on their shoulders, and that's Spence Eccles, who was mentioned previously, but we're grateful for him and for Gail Miller for all that they've done and will continue to do. And I'm honored to be with this group and look forward to our partnership with the USOPC. Sarah Hirschman is the CEO of the USOPC. She's a tremendous leader. What she's done for athletes for both the Olympic and Paralympic movement is remarkable. And it's now my privilege to turn the time over to Sarah.
Thank you, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here, and I think it's only fitting that on Valentine's Day, I say to all of you in Utah, we feel the love. Team USA feels the love, and we are so grateful. The state, the city, the surrounding cities and community leaders, and frankly, the history and the legacy of the O2 Games is something that we feel every time we come to town. Many of you know Team USA athletes are here every day training. The intensity of that is ratcheted up a notch as we just celebrated 1 year out to the Milan Cortina Games. So it's game time for us and we're excited. And we are grateful to all of you for the support that you give to the Olympic movement, the Paralympic movement, and most importantly, the athletes. We know that that's what inspires us, right? It is the performance of athletes who achieve things even they aren't certain they can achieve. And it motivates the rest of us to believe that that too can be true. So the unification that we're going to see, the achievement that we're going to see, we are grateful to Utah for putting us back on that stage and in that spotlight to show the world what that looks like and inspire us all to be better every single day. It is truly a pleasure to be part of this team. We have an extraordinary team. I will also add my thanks to all the board members who have agreed to so graciously serve. The work of phase 2 begins now. The bid was quite a bit of work, and now we have a 9-year run with a lot of work in front of us. We're here, we're committed to this effort, we're committed to Utah and to having the most extraordinary games in 2034. Let me say a key partner in this process along the way has been the mayor of Salt Lake City, Erin Mendenhall. She's become a friend, not only to me, but to our movement. She is an advocate for what we do, and we're excited to have her and her team and this city showcased as we do this. So with that, let me introduce Mayor Mendenhall.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is always an honor to stand with these great partners and with our friends at the USOPC. But this feels good. I agree with you, Sarah, that this transition marks a real turning point for us. And it was 9 years ago on Monday that we marked the day that we will light the torch again here in Salt Lake City. We are so fortunate to have an organizing committee who are the kind of people that are focused on not only what's good for the residents of the area or the jurisdictions they represent, the people of the state of Utah, but what is good for the movement? What is good for the globe right now? These organizers who are being announced today are not just organizers of an event. They're architects of a legacy that we will be proud of as Utahns, as Salt Lakers. And the city of Salt Lake City, as the capital, will be the gateway to the games. From our incredible airport that's going to look just as good, if not better, by 2034, to lighting the torch, the opening and closing ceremonies, and the precious medals that will be awarded will happen here in your capital city. We are honored to be a part of the state of Utah, to be a partner in the games, and we are so excited to work with this new organizing committee who will put Utah first and the future of the games at the top. Thank you so much for being a part of this with us. And I will turn the time over now to my friend, Senate President Stuart Adams.
I couldn't be more excited. I mean, we're going to host the Winter Olympics again in 2034. In 2002, we put on the very best games ever. And that happened. And not only did we put on the best games ever, but we did something that I don't know if ever's been done before or has been done after, is we made a profit. And we actually made money at those Olympic Games. Great job, Fraser. And I think we need to recognize him. And what did we do with that profit? We didn't lose money, we made money. What did we do? We put it in a legacy fund. I'd see Spence Eccles here, so many people that were involved in that. And we kept our venues alive. And I'd like to recognize someone today, again, Colin Hilton, who kept those venues going. We have kept, I remember being at the Olympic Park, I think a summer or two ago, with the Ukrainian team. They were there, we were hosting them for free, training our competitor in Ukraine to actually help them with their Winter Olympics. And we have those venues going. All our community's been a part of that. And it's pretty amazing that we've been able to keep these venues alive. And when we were in Paris, think of that. You were, those of you that were there with us, other countries were bidding. I won't say who they are, but they were talking about what they were going to do. When we stood up, we said, we're ready, willing, and able. We could host the game today. No other spot on the planet can do that because of what we did in 2002 and what's been done. Let's recognize Colin. Thank you. And then since 2002, we put together a little organization called the Sports Commission. And since 2002, we've actually hosted, think of this, over 1,100 events. That's one event a week since 2002. Amazing process. It's been so great to see the many things that have happened. I don't know if Jeff's here, Jeff Robbins, but let's recognize Jeff Robbins and the Sports Commission. Thank you again. Utah is the state of sport. You know, as I think about what we've done, I also can't help but think of the great people that have helped me. And I want to recognize a couple other people here today. I've got great colleagues in the Senate. To see Senator McKell, let's recognize the senators who are here. I know Mike will probably do the House members. To stand up, Senator McKell, others that have done so much. You know, Utah, I like to talk about what we've done and what we're doing. We know that we're the best spot for business. I talk about number ones all the time. But one number one that we forget about, and that is we're the number one state for volunteerism. Isn't that cool? And because we are the number one state for volunteerism, it's going to be fun as we see this Olympic spirit continue to thrive in Utah. We see people come forward, volunteer, be part of this great effort. I want to thank the board members. I see them. Some of you were involved in this before it even started in 2002. You put your heart, your soul, your vision into the 2002 Olympics. Now you're on, you or your family's on the board again. You have been part of the Utah spirit. I'm going to say the Olympic spirit, but that spirit that we have in Utah of doing things that are great. It's a great opportunity to be involved. And I'm going to finally thank three last people. I want to thank, again, Brad Wilson, Brad Wilson, my good colleague, Steve Starks, and Fraser Bullock. Let's recognize them. They've done a great job in putting all this together. It's fun to be here, a part of this process. And my good colleague, Speaker Schultz, we're doing a lot of work up here. We're really busy, but nothing could happen without his great effort too. That's it from Speaker Schultz.
Thank you, President Adams. Boy, what an incredible opportunity it is for me to be able to stand here with you all today. I'll never forget where I was at when it was announced in 2000 that Utah was receiving the 2002 Winter Olympics. And for me to be able to stand with you today in this position is truly an incredibly humbling experience for me. I just want to give a huge shout out to Fraser, to Governor Cox, Mayor Mendenhall, and so many of you in this room, Representative Hawkins, Senator McKell, that helped bring the 2034 Olympics to the state of Utah. It never would have happened without your guys' efforts, and I just can't tell you how much that I appreciate that. You know what? I love Utah. Most of you know that. I love our history. I love our people. I love our potential. But more than anything, I love our values here in the state of Utah. And I cannot wait to once again show the world who Utah is and what makes us so special. Utah's Olympic legacy didn't start in 2002, and it's not going to end in 2034. The 2034 Games are more than just a global sporting event. They're a chance to showcase Utah and strengthen our communities all across the state and inspire the next generation. I've been so impressed by this team coming together and saying, we're going to make it about Utah, all of Utah, and involve every aspect and every corner of Utah. And then to hear how closely you're going to bring the families of the athletes together as well, something that's never been done before. A lot of times the athletes get the families of the athletes get left out. Utah is a family state. We're going to highlight the families of these athletes and make them feel just as special as they are. The last part that I'm most excited about is instilling a new love and creating new memories and building opportunities for the next generation, for my kids, for your kids, for our grandkids, and what it's going to mean to Utah and to them moving forward. And I think we came together and we're doing that. Frazier, Brad, Steve, it's been an incredible opportunity to work with you guys over the last several months and working together to collaborate to bring this group together. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys and your work. Utah's Olympic future is in good hands with you guys at the reins. The committee will organize and celebrate and honor Utah's Olympic legacy and look forward to 2034 and beyond. We will show the world once again what it takes to stand as a host city time and time and time again. We hope we're not done in 2034. We hope we have the opportunity well beyond 2034. The Olympics have and will play a key role in the Beehive State's past and present and future. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being involved. I see so many people that have donated. The state hasn't funded. The state did not fund to get us where we're at today. You guys did. I can't tell you how much we appreciate your efforts, all of you. So thank you all. I think we're doing question and answer next, so thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It is indeed a milestone day here in Utah. We will take a few minutes for Q&A for news media. Our speakers will remain at their places for that Q&A. So happy to take any questions that you may have. Oh, yeah. First, go to Fraser. I know you had a few points you wanted to add.
Is this on? Yes. When we recognized our board members, we also want to recognize our honorary chairs and vice chairs. So we are thrilled to have as an honorary chair our great Governor Cox. We're honored to have Mayor Aaron Mendenhall as an honorary chair, which means we want as much of their wisdom and guidance as possible. And as honorary vice chairs, we are fortunate to have President Stuart Adams and Speaker Mike Schultz. And that is just an indication of we want to be close to them, and they want to be close to us because we want to enjoy this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you, Fraser. Yes, in the back. And if you, do we have roaming microphones? Yeah.
Fraser, last time we spoke, I asked you, what's the next step to get us moving forward? And you said we have to get the committee put together. Committee's put together, what's the next good step?
Well, first of all, we're going to take a sigh of relief because it's been a long journey. But it's really an exciting time, and Brad is leading an effort to help us get together to say, okay, we laid out a vision for what we want to accomplish in the bid phase. Now, what is it that we want to, now that we have the organizing committee formed, how can we refine that? Brad's going to go on a listening tour to go around the state and to hear from you what it is that we want to accomplish. And I'll turn it over to Brad to talk about that a little bit.
Thanks, Fraser. Well, I think Fraser just pretty successfully outlined kind of the next steps, but I'll just add to that. In addition to a listening tour to understand what all the stakeholders in Utah want to see accomplished, we're also going to engage other communities. We're going to engage the sport community throughout America. This is about not just Utah. Like Steve said, I think successfully, this is America hosting the games. And I don't know if we should say this or not publicly, but we want U.S. athletes to excel in 2034. And we want to do everything we can to help support a healthy pipeline of athletes. And there are young people today that may not even know they're going to be Olympians in 2034. And we want to help plant that seed. And lastly, I'll just say this foundational phase that we'll be in really until 2028, when we have this amazing opportunity to collaborate with Los Angeles as they host the Summer Games, we will be focusing a lot on just ensuring that the foundation of the games here in Utah and the engagement in Utah is really high, but all across the country. And so we'd like your best ideas, your best thinking. We're going to put our board to work and see how this all plays out.
Thank you, Fraser and Brad. Other questions? And media, when you do a question, just wait for the mic so we get it for the live streaming. Lisa?
Thank you all. I'm just wondering, with our elected leaders up here, 4 of you in a row, very convenient, if each of you could just talk about what's the first thing you want to see now that the games have an organizing committee, have a vehicle to start getting things done. What What's the first thing you want to see accomplished? Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm excited to get together with the host communities. We are chomping at the bit to share our ideas across the state that are bubbling up at the grassroots level. And I think about the youth in our communities who are going to start to see themselves on the slopes, in the chute, on the ice in 2034. I think about the small businesses I'm hearing from who could become international businesses because of the opportunity of the world coming to Salt Lake City in the state of Utah. And those are the kind of voices that we're hearing from already. So we're very excited, I think, across all the host communities to finally kick off this work officially together.
Thank you, Mayor. So as the governor, my job is to think about all the things that could go wrong in 2034 and make sure they don't. And so that's, honestly, I mean, this is kind of in the weeds stuff, but we're looking at security issues. We saw what happened in New Orleans recently on a major night of celebration, and then having a Super Bowl in that venue not long after that. The lessons that we're learning there. There's a lot that goes in when we're talking about the potential of millions of people coming to your state over a period of time, athletes from all over the world, what's happening all over the world. The security aspects of this really weigh heavy on me, and making sure that we have such a long runway to plan ahead. That's a great stuff. So great thing. So we're already having those conversations and working through that. On a more positive side, though, thinking bigger. We're not done dreaming. We have 9 years to dream, and I think we ought to get creative about our transportation issues and the way we get people from points A to Z, and we can do some things differently than we did last time, and we'll save more of that for later.
Thank you, Governor. That was a good lead-in. We have an opportunity for infrastructure, and we know that you're not going to build another freeway through Farmington, or you're going to get one through the point of the mountain. We know front runner's the answer, so we have a real opportunity to upgrade our public transit system. We need to double-track front runner, move it up to from 79 to 150 miles an hour, trying to do express trains. And then, if nothing else, we have an opportunity to be innovative. I think air taxis. Wouldn't it be cool to have landing sites on each of the venues? I'm challenging everyone to try to put those landing sites there, to actually deliver spectators and athletes to those venues with air taxis. It's on the horizon. We know they're there. They're being used around the world. And I think we can do some really exciting things. As I mentioned before, we did the very best games, in my opinion, ever been done in the Olympics in 2002. We're going to do even better than that in 2034. And the other thing I'd like to see happen, just catch that Olympic spirit. We have a great spirit of community. And let our public, our neighbors and friends, be able to do what they want to do, volunteer and be involved, and try to involve as many people as possible. So infrastructure and community involvement.
Thank you, President. Great question, Lisa. And President Adams and I have already been colluding behind the scenes to think about what's next. And so it really is. And President Adams talked about transportation. Governor Cox talked about transportation as well. And you think about the opportunities that Utah has for transportation and making our state better, keeping our quality of life better, and not creating something just for the Olympics, but something that goes well beyond the Olympics, that our state can continue to benefit. And the one project that I keep thinking about is the rebuild of I-15 through Salt Lake County. And the Spaghetti Bowl. I'll never forget watching the Spaghetti Bowl, and everybody talk about how cool the Spaghetti Bowl is. And we think like that never would have happened at the moment in time that it did had it not been for the Olympics. And here we are 25 years later benefiting from those assets. And the assets all around the state. And so believe it or not, everybody's coming to the state right now saying, hey, we need something for the Olympics. We need something for the Olympics. It's become the new theme. So it's our job to go through a process to make sure that the real true priorities go to the top. We've talked about that as state leaders with Governor Cox and President Adams and myself. And we've got some thoughts and ideas, but we look forward to, like it's been mentioned, going around the community and the state to really, truly figure out what that is.
The bad thing is the Olympics are 9 years away. The good thing is that 9 years away, we're going to do as much as we can and take as much advantage of that 9 years.
Wait 1 second, Michelle. Fraser, I want to go back to you. The mayor, Mayor Mendenhall, mentioned the host venue communities who are very important to this. Can you speak a little bit more about how those communities are going to be engaged?
Yes, we will have a series of committees, and we're going to engage a lot of people, and dozens and dozens. And these will be in the form of like our host communities committee, that we make sure the mayors of each community are involved. And pleased to announce Mayor Mendenhall will chair that committee, as she did during the bid phase. But with these committees, and we'll have a sport and venues committee, and we'll have arts and culture and different committees to be able to engage many of you and a lot of citizens to get the input that we need, but also to help us accomplish more. And in addition to that, we'll have the chairs of those various committees and other individuals in something we call our steering committee. And we'll have about 32 individuals in that committee, and that will be announced here in the coming weeks. And we'll continually announce these committees going forward to ensure that we're doing a broad engagement throughout our community.
Thank you, Fraser. Media, when you have a question, and we'll go with Michelle next, and then Julie. Just introduce yourself so the folks on the live stream know who it is. So, Michelle.
Michelle Repke, representing Town Lift in Park City. Let's balance it out. Maybe on this side of the table, can you address the vision for the Paralympic Games in 2034, please?
I'll start, and if you want to add, I love the Paralympic Games. Some of my greatest memories come from '02. And when I think of that, it's still the same vision that we have, which is to elevate our communities, elevate sport, make sure that the athletes have the incredible field of play, and most importantly is perhaps telling their stories and making sure the world is aware of what they've gone through. And maybe, Sarah, you could add to that.
Well, I'll just say it's no secret how committed the USOPC is to the Paralympic movement and the growth in that movement. We've seen some extraordinary milestones over the last several years, and I think we can expect the Paralympics to be something different in 2034 than what we've seen in the past. It is an enormous opportunity. Frankly, it's sort of, I would say, the most unnoticed sports business asset that exists in sport today. And we're excited about the opportunity, frankly, not only to showcase that in 2034, but to do so in 2028 in Los Angeles, which will be a really nice introduction that Los Angeles has never hosted a Paralympic Games before. So it's a moment and an opportunity in this next decade, now I'll say 9 years, to really bring the Paralympic movement to light in a way that I don't think this country has understood, and frankly the rest of the world. And we're incredibly both excited and, with humility, incredibly proud to be leading that at the USOPC.
Okay, want to go to Julie next?
Thanks. Julie Jag from the Salt Lake Tribune. Actually, I have two questions I hope I can sneak in. First one is for Governor Cox and Mayor Mendenhall. Sorry, Governor Cox, I can't actually see you from here, but that's okay. I can, yeah, so you've both been very involved with the bid committee. I'm wondering how that will change, or if you see that changing with your title changing to being honorary chairs.
I don't see it changing much at all. We will be, both of us, very much involved, and again, the speaker and the president as well. I would say as involved as we've been with the bid committee. You can't pull off a games like this without the supporting the infrastructure of the government, state and local, and that includes all the other mayors that are involved as well. And so, yeah, you may be tired of us, but you're going to be seeing a lot of us, and I think that's how we do this and we get it there. I would just add that that's how we got the bid in the first place. When you talk to the IOC and the USOPC and others, they will tell you that the fact that we had local and state government so aligned, and not just local and state government, but Republicans and Democrats. We had complete support all across the board, and that's very rare these days. That's one of the reasons that many of these other cities who were bidding on the 2030 and 2034 Olympics fell away, was because their government couldn't get theirs stuff together and couldn't get on the same page and couldn't work closely together. That can't end now. In fact, it's probably more important now than getting the bid. That's how you pull off a successful Olympics and Paralympics, is when we are aligned, when we're working together, when we use the momentum that we have to bring everybody to the table, and you will see no daylight between the four of us.
And I don't actually see it as much of a shift. We've been in these honorary roles leading up to this, and it's, I believe, an appropriate position for elected people to be in honorary roles. And the 25 members of the Olympic Committee that are being announced today are not elected leaders, and I think it's right that way. We also serve in a role of sort of chief cheerleaders. None of us are forced to be here. This is the most joyful thing I get to participate in, next to reading picture books to kindergartners once in a while. I love this work. We all love doing this, so we get to bring a lot of passion and care. And of course, there is a great deal of coordination in executing the games from the local to the state level. And of course, we will be able to make sure our teams are coordinating along the way for that.
Great, thanks. I have one more question. I think that's going to probably go to this side of the room, but that is, I think what a lot of Utahns will want to know now that there is an organizing committee is, when can they sign up to volunteer? So if you can tell me what that process would be and how people can get involved, or when you think that might happen, that'd be great.
Well, thanks, Julie. We will do exactly what happened in 2002, and we will use the volunteers of this state in a way that's unprecedented. And we'll continue. I've asked people to go on our website and sign up on our social media channels and watch for information. There will definitely be a time and a season for that. We're 9 years away, so we're not quite ready to accept volunteers. But yeah, well, I know my phone's been lighting up in the last 20 minutes of lots of volunteers already. So, but I think your question's the right question, though. I mean, how does Utah host the world in a way where we can put our best face forward, but also have a great experience for everyday Utahns to do the kinds of things that they want to do and participate in, and we'll absolutely do that.
Matt?
Matt Traub with Sports Travel. For this side of the room, obviously closer to 34, you'll be having series of test events, but what can you do to leverage between now and those test events to try and get more international sporting events on the winter sports scene, whether it be Salt Lake or, to Brad's point, anywhere in the United States that can benefit the Olympic movement, both for the USOPC, but also Salt Lake's awareness ahead of 34?
Yeah, because we want to, this is a state of sport, and we want to have as many events as we can. Obviously, we will have a slate of test events that we'll go through for each of our venues, which in and of itself is great, but we're already working on key test events, or key events. Colin, we have the 2027 Biathlon World Championships coming here, right? World Cup. Or World Cup. Yes, so we have, so we want Colin to keep going, Jeff to keep going, to bring as many events as we can here, because it's an opportunity for us maybe to take some of those people who want to volunteer and come and help us with these events. So it really goes hand in hand.
Tom, can I just add to that? It's probably been overlooked, but a few years ago, knowing that this was most likely imminent, the state, along with Jeff Robbins' Sports Commission, already doubled down on this strategy. And so Jeff and his team are already working on this, knowing that it's a great opportunity for us to fine-tune our venues and to take advantage of the light that's shining on Utah now that we're a host city for 2034. And so there's been money appropriated for that, and we're already doing that, but we will continue to make sure that we do everything we can. Because, again, I said this a few minutes ago, but sport is what the Olympics are about, but Utah more and more is a destination for sport. And you probably all know this, but in Salt Lake, the largest block of room nights has now shifted from being used from conventions to sporting events. And we expect that to continue to grow across the state, and that's because Utah is, as you hear all the time, the state of sport. We want to double down on that.
With that, I want to thank our participants, and we're going. I'm sorry, Steve.
Tom, that's okay. I just wanted to add to that from a slightly different perspective, and that is that Utah's on the radar across the board for a variety of sports. And I think your question was specific to the Olympic movement, but in addition to what Fraser and Brad said, you can see that with professional sports. We had a meeting up here at the Capitol actually a week ago with the Professional Women's Volleyball League, and they said in their opinion that Utah's become the epicenter of sport, and that will continue to be the case. When I became the president of Utah Jazz a decade ago, that wasn't the case. There was great momentum, there were good things happening, but I think success is begetting success, and we have an opportunity to continue to leverage the state to become, as Jeff Robbins loves to say, the state of sport, but on an even larger scale and across the board, from the youth to college to professional athletes.
Governor Cox?
Just one last thing I want to add. It's a little different than what we've been talking about, but I think it's important. We do have another Olympics coming to the United States in 2028. And the success of that Olympics will directly impact the success of our Olympics. I think what we saw in Paris, I felt it here. I think the numbers showed it, that there's a renewed love of the Olympics that's starting to happen. I know my kids, the last 4 or 5 Olympics, didn't pay much attention to those, but something clicked this last time. I think it's the way that, I mean, there was just great content, but the availability of the sport for people to watch at any time during the day, even if it wasn't live, they could catch up. The technology kind of caught up with the moment. And the reason I say that is that's good for us. To make this work, we need our media partners, we need our sponsors, we need all of this to work. And so we're deeply invested in making sure that LA 28 is successful. And we're going to do everything we can on our end. I know Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics are very different, but we're one team. We're Team USA. And so I know we're talking a lot about Utah, but over the next 3 years, we're going to be focused on LA 2028 and helping them be as successful as possible, because that's going to boomerang or springboard to us as we come back. So I just want to tell our friends in LA, we're grateful for your leadership and the cool things that are happening there, and we can't wait to see the success in 28.
I want to thank everyone, and I want to do a photo, so I could ask our speakers to just come in front of the table and gather together, and we'll do a photo op. And I want to thank all of you for being here. We will have our leadership team available for some one-on-ones for a little bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. You know Amanda, right?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Thank you for that.
You're Utah State.
I know.
We appreciate all your work.
Hey,
I think we're in it on. Al's doing great.
Okay,
He's a steady
thank you
hand.
for your recommendation.
He's a steady hand.
Thanks for your recommendation on her.
And there's some other good candidates that we want to have put their hat in. We want a robust process with as many options as possible.
We need your help through that process, so we'll stay close, okay?
Thank you.
Thank